So today on Miles from Main Street,
The streets are filled with Christmas cheer.
No one is saying Space Mountain, and
That was another one that I thought of, though.
we're finally going to get together and talk about it, aren't we? Hey, we're all wearing the same shirt. Like,
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las
This here's
puertas.
a wild
We got the gang all together again. We've got Brian and Tammy and Kristen and Mikhailo, and we're going to talk about the trip that we all took.
we're finally going to get together and talk about it, aren't we? Did everyone have a
couple
good time?
weeks later.
Right? I know, like, we came back and had all these plans, didn't we? To talk about it, I was going to do some stuff on Instagram, and then December happened.
Yeah. Holidays with kids are busy.
Holidays in general, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just been like a dreary. It feels like 6 months.
It has felt like it's a weird Christmas with it just being like we had no snow, and it's just been like drizzling for like the past couple days. It's just been weird. It's been a weird one.
It was like 53 degrees on Christmas Day.
Yep.
53. And I actually had friends post that they were outside sitting by the fire. And
I
like,
saw some people post they're outside like playing basketball, and like I kind of thought about that too late. I was like, we should have went and done something outside, because like when is that probably ever going to happen again?
yeah. When we were driving on the 23rd, we were driving through Oregon, my hometown, and it was past a golf course, and there were people golfing.
Oh, wow.
December 23rd in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of some friends golfing, and I've had the thought like, oh, do I go out golfing? But nah.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about golfing. We're going to talk about Disney World. You guys spent a whole week, and we crashed for a few days, and we had an excellent time. And so I hope we didn't piss you off while we were there.
I was pretty sure that we pissed you off.
Well, I'm pretty sure I pissed you off, but we'll get into all that, won't we?
Yes, we'll talk all about the pissing off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but please go out and share the show and let others know about us so they can come and hear about how we pissed off Kristen and Kylo.
And about how we pissed off Brian and Tammy.
And we're never, ever going to take another trip ever again.
No.
Not even in February.
I'll be amazed if we can get through this entire recording.
I know, right?
I can't even stand the sound of their voices.
Anyways, like Brian said, we had a trip together, and basically what we did was we went to a party together. We went to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party together. That was on like the very first day. Like Brian and Tammy landed in Orlando, and then immediately we went to a party. And then we had an off day where we went to Disney Springs, and then we had a day at Epcot. I think that was it, right?
That was pretty much it.
Yep.
Yeah. We landed at about 1:00, and we got our bags pretty quick and got into an Uber and headed over to the World. You guys are staying at Pop Century and were kind enough to let us crash in your room for a few nights. And we literally walked in the room, dropped our bags, changed into our awesome get up for the night, and we headed out to Magic Kingdom. And we grabbed a bus to get over there. And we got in line. We got there about 3:15. This is a big talking point on some of the party groups. Like, how early do I get there, and when do we get let in? And for these parties, you can get in at 4:00. And we got there at like 3:15, and we were probably, I don't know, a dozen people back or so in the line, and I was already like starting to feel my adrenaline starting to run. And you immediately were like, should we go in and get you guys something? Because you guys are pass holders. We're not. So we couldn't go in until they said we could. But you guys were kind enough to go in, and you got us some Joffreys and some egg rolls. Spring rolls. Sorry. And about 5 to 10 minutes after you guys left us to go in, I started regretting it. Because I was like, the parade was going by, the crowd was getting pretty nutso, and I was starting to get worried that you guys weren't going to be able to get back to us, and that if you do get back to us, we're not going to have any time for the snack that you brought us. So I was calling you, and you're like, dude, it's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was one thing that I it's not like I was like, oh, that's interesting, but it was just funny that like Brian was like, don't don't bother with it, like it's not gonna work, and Kristen and I were just kind of like, I think it's okay. Like we
At
went.
that point, we already had gotten the
Yeah,
spring rolls.
we
So I
had
was
gotten
like,
the spring rolls.
I need coffee too. So we just booked it over to the Joffreys.
We
did have to stop for the parade though.
Yeah, and the only thing that could have stopped us from doing this, which is probably what Brian was thinking of, was like when we got out of the park, there was still, and I didn't really understand this until all of a sudden I figured it out when we were walking in to the like the mob of people, but there were so many people now all of a sudden waiting for the party, and they actually have like a walking path in between where all the people stand. And I don't think I understood that, so I was just like, "Oh no, yeah, like we'll definitely be able to get to you." Um, and as soon as we got out, like all of a sudden I realized, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is what he was talking about. Like maybe they won't let us just like cut through everybody." But we basically just like went through that like a little walking path, and there was a guy standing there, and I was just like, "Hey, we've got this stuff. We're joining them." And like I think just as I said that, Brian, you were like waving at me, and the guy was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead." And so he just like let us walk in, and or let us walk through the people to get to you, and it really wasn't that bad. So that was fun, and I'm glad we did that. One, because we were able to get spring rolls for the four of us, and coffee. I got a Diet Coke, which was wonderful at that point. And we were also pretty far forward for getting into the party and like going down that alleyway, which is what I really wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like going down that alleyway with the four of us like really hyped me up for like going into this party.
I would agree with that. It was a really good way to get things started, and they were super efficient because it was like 3:55 when they finally
Mhm.
opened the gates for us, and we were standing. What did I say? 4:03 or 4:06 or something. We were standing to take a picture with the
Yeah.
toy soldiers.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was really efficient and quick, and it's not like we were running there to get there or anything. We just took
Mhm.
our time. So
Yeah, and it wasn't like I kind of expected it to be super crowded going through that alleyway, and it wasn't at all.
no, it
Like,
wasn't.
Mhm.
yeah.
I wonder
Which
where
is
everybody went.
Well, actually, that's very true, because I feel like when we did Halloween uh last year, not this year Halloween, last year, I feel like it felt that way going through that alleyway for Halloween. We didn't really stop at all. We just kind of like we were herded to where they were handing us our bags and like that first piece of candy, and then we just kind of kept going. This alleyway was kind of decorated, and there was a DJ, and they had Snope going, and they had the toy soldiers, and then they also had those like angel like ladies or whatever, like walking around on stilts too. So they had a lot going on back there, and it just didn't seem very crowded. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
maybe
totally
that
agree.
was the thing, is that it was just so efficient that like it was just pushing people through, and we were the ones that wanted to hang back and get pictures and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was very chill from that moment on. Um, where did we go? I was standing in line for something, or I don't remember where we were, but I said to you, Mikhailo, I'm like, I gotta stop. I gotta settle down. Like I was in go mode. Like I just like we gotta run here, we gotta run there, we gotta go, we gotta go.
That I'm pretty sure that was after, because the next thing we did was merch, and merch. I mean that in the Emporium, like that always feels like chaos, like almost no matter what. Um,
That's
and
true.
back when we were doing it, then it's weird because you go into that back area where they have all of the merch, and then it's like blocked off for all of the party people, and so like you cram all of the people from the party who are looking for merch into like that like back corner,
Mm-hmm.
and so that felt crazy, and it was
Yeah.
nutso like looking for sizes, and so like that was like one of the first things we did was go look for that merch, and I mean like there's just a ton going on with that, and I think Brian, what you were talking about was like after that, because I think then we got into a line, and like things started to kind of slow down a little bit because things hadn't opened yet, and so we were just kind of like doing because we went to Jungle Cruise, and so we waited in
Mm-hmm.
that line, and I love the Jungle Cruise line. It's for some reason I just really enjoy like all the little things, but I think and Brian was just still like
I
like ready to
was.
go and like raring to go.
We hadn't eaten anything like all day, and then you gave us a giant Jake and Jamaican from
Jake and Jamaican?
Shaken Jamaican, yeah, from Joffrey's. It's a lot of jishes. Um, and maybe that was part of it. Just like I was just all jittery, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is the time to bring it up. Like I feel like I learned a lot from you guys on how to do the parks a little better. Hopefully, setting us up for February, because there were a lot of times that we were in line, and I think this is one of those parts that you guys may have gotten mad at me, where I would say this isn't going to work. We're not going to have enough time for this, and I'd talk you into getting out of the line.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Well, I feel
But that's just wasting your time then, because then you've already stood in a line.
well, and we have that same thought sometimes. I feel like, and that's the thing though, is that we'll talk back and forth about it, and then we'll decide like either we stay in the line or we go, but it usually has to happen like pretty quick. But and there have been times where we've gotten out of lines, um, but yeah, like we have those same thoughts of like, oh, is this going to be worth it? I mean, we've gotten out of Test Track before, but that was also because it like went down or something. um but then also have been times where we've waited in Test Track because we were in line already. So yeah, like that's not too like out of the question. Like we definitely have those conversations too about things. But I think, and I mean, I feel this way too sometimes, where it's like you need to pick like the exact perfect thing to do to like make everything line up in the day, but at the same time you also kind of have to be like, you have to like roll with the punches. Like if Haunted Mansion is an hour, and like there really isn't any other time that we can go to Haunted Mansion, then it's like we're waiting an hour for Haunted Mansion. um that's a terrible example, but um but yeah, like stuff like that, where it's like you just kind of have to roll with the punches. And I feel like you guys did a good job of that. It's just, I feel like sometimes we kind of, all of us, like will like second guess like the decisions that we're making at the time, because you never really know.
He tends to not believe the lines. Like it'll say like 25 minutes, but he'll look at the line and be like, there's no way this has to be longer than that. And like, I don't know. I feel like you do that a
Well, I
lot.
was doing the opposite. Like when we got in line for Peter Pan, Kristen, you stood your ground, which I appreciate, and you're like, we're doing this. Tammy's never seen the queue. We're gonna go in, and there's no way this is. I think it was posted at
It
an
was
hour.
posted, 60 minutes. And I
And
was
it
like,
took-
this person is crazy.
Well, and the funny thing is Kristen is like the Peter Pan whisperer. Every because Brian, I say that same thing when we're walking by Peter Pan. Sometimes I'll be like, no, definitely not. But then she'll get us into the line, and I'll be sitting there like, oh, we're gonna have to wait an hour for Peter Pan, and it's never an hour. Like she just knows I think it's I mean, it makes sense. Like if you don't see the line from the outside, then most likely like it's not as long as you think. But Kristen's really good at like gauging Peter Pan for some reason.
And it was a good play because it was in that in between time of 6 and 7, so there's no more fast pass, and they were lying to us that it was an hour, and
Mhm.
like you were saying, like the line was in the building, so we got in line. I'm going, okay, wait a minute, it's like 6:15. We have mobile orders coming up at 7. We're supposed to be in line for Space Mountain at 6:30. And that was our plan, right? Like, and now we're getting thrown for a loop by going into Peter Pan. and, but this is only the first example. There are more examples later that we'll get to where Brian is wrong, and you guys,
I still
showed me
think we should
something.
have stayed in the Seven Dwarfs line.
Me too.
When were we in the Seven Dwarves line?
Wow.
In the
After-
Storybook Circus area.
After we had rode Space Mountain.
Oh,
Not
you
the
guys
ride.
walked
I thought
over
you were
there.
talking about the ride. I was like, when
No.
we were in that line? No, yeah.
I would have liked to ride that when we were there.
Seven Dwarf. Yo, have we ridden that in 2 trips now? I don't think we have.
I don't know.
I think we've taken 2 trips and not ridden Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
It's usually not a must do for us.
Yeah.
I don't think we did
Um,
it in 21 when we were there.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so we're in the same boat.
But yeah, just so everybody knows what we're talking about, because we've gotten into like just
We've
back and
skipped.
forth mode.
Yeah.
So we at one point we got into the PhotoPass line for Seven Dwarves. That's what we're talking about. And it seemed short. However, there was like a cutoff where they would stop the line, and then you would get into the room where they take the pictures. But the line in the room looked fairly long.
Yeah.
And I think when we were asking the person, we were like, how long is it? And they were like, it's around 45 minutes. And we were like, how can this be 45 minutes? And so we stood in there for a little while, and we realized that the line really wasn't moving all that fast. And so we finally just kind of decided, like, you know what? I think we should just move on and can continue going.
What scared me is that there were people in that room that were sitting and they weren't moving the
Oh,
entire
yeah.
time that we were there. They never moved.
Mhm.
And that's what scared me about it, because there's 7 characters and you don't know how people are going to act when they get up there, if they need to hug each and every one of them or if they're just going to quickly go up, snap the picture and run. It was something that I would have liked to have done, and it might be the regret that I have is getting out of the line, but it also was something that I had already told myself that I wasn't going to do it if it was
Mhm.
too long. And that's why I was so ready to run from it.
And that's kind of how I feel about characters most of the time, is if it's a long line, I'm gonna have to wait a substantial amount of time. I just don't really I personally don't think it's worth it. That may change like once we have a child and we have kids, and maybe that's different for you guys too, having kids and like wanting to take pictures like that. But I did want to mention that was something that we like. Did we take pictures with any characters?
Jack and Sally.
Jack and Sally. Yeah. That was cool. And we did that for Halloween too, so it was fun to be able to do both. But yeah, I feel like that's just something that, and it's like we did a lot. Like we ate a bunch of food. We rode rides. We did all of this Christmas stuff. We watched all of the parades and everything, but we really didn't do a lot of like picture spots and meeting characters. And I feel like it's difficult because I feel like we did a lot, but like
Mhm.
fitting in, also waiting in line for all of these characters, I feel like we wouldn't have had enough time.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, and the party's built that there's too much to do, right?
Yeah.
I keep comparing it in my head to going to Sweethearts Night, and
Mm-hmm.
like I probably shouldn't be because they're two totally different things, but like we did this so much better than we did that. Like we were
Yeah.
so much better prepared for this.
Yeah, we were.
Have you guys done a party before? The
Yeah.
Christmas party?
We've done the Halloween party twice.
Okay.
Mm.
Because I feel like when we did the Halloween party last year, like we had no idea what to do. And
Mhm.
like we left like having regrets. Like we feel like we missed out on a bunch of things. And then like this last year, like we figured out, like how we have to maneuver it. I feel like that helped with the Christmas party too, and just like making sure that we research things more. Whereas like I think Sweethearts Night, like we didn't have much time to like look into it ahead of time because that was something new that they were bringing back at Disneyland.
And
And then there's
they did the first one like the day we were traveling, I think. So we never had a chance to even watch a video to
Yeah.
know what was going
Yeah.
on.
and then like adding on top of like we are at Disneyland and that's like not what we're familiar with. I
Right.
don't know. Where like those people, like they're fine with waiting 2 hours to meet a character because they'll probably go to the party like 2 or 3 times or
Mhm.
Mhm.
something crazy like that.
Yeah, I think I mean, going through the whole trip, not the whole trip, the whole party, it's all about kind of like prioritizing what you want to do, and I feel like we did that pretty well with like understanding what we wanted to do. We really wanted to prioritize food, and we really wanted to prioritize kind of like the stage shows and the Christmassy stuff that way. Like
Mhm.
we I mean, and that was the thing, is that like anytime we saw like Jack and Sally, I think was like 15 minutes because fireworks just had gotten done, or something had just gotten done, that we were able to just like jump into it, which is the same way we did Halloween. So really that's the big tip. The takeaway: if you want to see Jack and Sally, go in there right after something gets done, mainly probably fireworks. But yeah, I feel like we did a pretty good job. I think it would be a good thing to do is to talk about the food that we had there and kind of like what we enjoyed. I know I really enjoyed the stuff that we got from Cosmic Rays. I really liked that food.
I was gonna say I didn't think it was that memorable to me. I think the turkey sandwich was the one that I was looking forward to that had the stuffing on it and stuff, and I thought that was good. But for whatever reason, it's not something that stuck with me. The tots that we got from Friar's Nook and the tamale I thought was good.
Yeah,
Mm.
the tater tots were my favorite thing, I think, that we had.
Kristen?
I liked those sandwiches from Cosmic Rays. I can't
Yeah.
remember which one.
Wasn't there one that was like pot roast or something like that?
Oh, was one like more beefy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe that one. There wasn't one on like garlic toast, and you can't go wrong with garlic toast.
Put anything between garlic toast and I'll eat it.
I do regret getting the cookie cake, like
Oh,
going
yeah.
back to Cosmic Rays because I tried to mobile order because it wasn't showing up when you initially mobile ordered. So after
Right.
we got off of Space Mountain, you guys went that back way to go over to the Seven Dwarfs for the photo, and I like ran over to get the cake and met you.
Mm-hmm.
Which I had seen people be like, oh, it's just another piece of cake. Like, it's nothing special. But it just looked cute. And I was like, maybe it'd be good. So I could have gone without that. I did like the gingerbread cake from,
Yes.
what's it called? Outpost?
Oh, the Golden Oak
Golden Oak?
Golden
Yeah.
Oak.
Outpost, yeah.
And one thing to talk about was the cookies that they were handing out.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the gingerbread cookie. Like, honestly, we could have just kept grabbing those cookies. I should have tried one while we were there. I think I did, but like, we should have kept going through and grabbing those gingerbread
Yeah.
cookies because they were so good.
I
Like,
was
way better than all of the other cookies.
very impressed by the party cookies.
Yeah.
I
They were good.
honestly liked those better than some of the cookie stroll cookies at
Mhm.
Epcot for
I
Festival
would
of the
agree with that.
Holidays.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, and I really wasn't expecting too much because they're like prepackaged cookies, but still, like, they were pretty good. Way better than I was expecting.
And the fun thing is you can buy them.
Yeah,
Cheryl's cookies.
Yeah, and I looked it up before we got there, and you could get 16 cookies mail ordered for $40.
Hmm.
Tammy and I brought home 22, so I think we did pretty well.
We still have 2 sitting on our counter.
We only have 2 because we actually found them somewhere. I think they were still in my backpack.
Because Kylo didn't unpack his backpack nor his suitcase until like a week ago when I opened his suitcase thinking it was empty. Nope, clothes were still all shoved in
I
it.
refused to because then once you unpack, then it's real. Then you are actually back, and I didn't want to be back.
Anywho,
I had taken, I think, 5 cookies and put them into the back of the Toy Soldier popcorn bucket,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought I had left them in there when I put the bucket out to display it. And so I was like, I put all the other cookies out. The kids demolished them in 2 days probably. And then I'm like, oh, I got my stash. And I went to my stash last week, and there's nothing in there. It was a sad day.
I think you showed the kids when we got home that you had like had them in there. So
Yeah.
I don't think it was a secret.
I don't know that I actually left them in there. I may have been dreaming it. But anyway, yeah, I thought those cookies were really good. And what I did, so when they first started doing that, Kylo, I think you had gone to get the tots, and I think there was something else from Friar's Nook we had too.
that
Yeah.
little ham pie thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
pie.
And then Kristen, you were getting us the buckets,
Mm-hmm.
and so we were kind of waiting it out at Cosmic Rays because of the food we thought would be coming up, which it took a little while for it to come up. So I started hitting the cookie line right there, and then Lunching Pad had one too, so I went over there and I picked up some cookies for all of us. But the one at Cosmic Rays, I did it like 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times, just so I could get enough cookies for everybody. And I think I went over, I got 2 from Lunching Pad, and then I sent you guys over there when Kristen got back. And we got a couple more. That's how we got a couple extra of those. But then the rest of the night, when I would go up, I would just say, could I have 4? And they'd be like, sure, here you go. And Tammy would grab 2. And I was apprehensive at first because watching like Ron on the Go, he didn't want to ask. He was really polite about it too.
Mhm.
But after a while, it was like they don't seem to care. So I would
Yeah.
just ask, and they'd just hand them over real quick. So
Yeah.
The only bummer about the cookies is that they didn't have the sugar cookies when we were there
Oh,
for
yeah.
the party. And I've seen other people post about like the parties that they went to, and they were out of 2 flavors out of the 5 or whatever.
So they
But-
must have run out of the sugar cookies before we got there, and then just never replenished or whatever. Because I don't think I saw anyone that had them after we were there.
So the last thing I want to talk about with the party is the stage show, which was the last thing that we watched. And I have not a huge issue, but I am sick. Not even really sick. Like, I'm done with this cell phone song that they have in the stage show where it's like, text me a Merry Christmas or something like that. Like,
This is the hill you're gonna die on.
this is the hill I'm gonna die on. Like, they need to get rid of. Anytime I see it, like on anybody's stream or anywhere, I'm just like, why is this still a song? They need to get rid of it.
The music is very catchy, but maybe it's just because we're older that it's like, I don't know.
Well, even that, it feels like a boomer was like, "What do you think kids like? They like texting each other. Let's write a song about kids texting each other on Christmas." Like it just feels that way. Like it just feels weird and like, we're hip. Yeah, we're Disney. We text people on their phones. Yeah, I don't know. I just ugh.
It hurts me because like you see that and it's like people like the song is like about texting, like literally texting everyone. Like it talks about Instagram or like Facebook or something too. And then like you go to these parties and everyone is on their phone, like communicating with other people, like recording it and like not just like taking in the memories. I don't know. Which like it's nice to have photos and like things to look back on, but then like you're not in the moment. Like you're just watching things through a screen.
Also, the hill that I'm going to die on too is people recording things on their phone. Not that, because people can record things on their phone if they want. Like if that's how you want to live that memory, like through your phone and then watching it later, sure, like you do that. But if your external light is on your phone, turn it off. Oh my god. It's not doing anything, it's just annoying people around you. Yeah. I got myself all worked up.
So that was not Kylo's favorite memory
No.
of the party.
My favorite memory, one of my favorite memories, was actually the parade. So
Yeah.
we actually kind of chose not to stand by you guys for that because you wanted to see Main Street, like it coming down Main Street, which I totally get. So we kind of went over where it goes out over by the fire station. And I was so glad we did because we were right up front. And the I don't know what you call them, like the people that come out ahead of the parade, they were like tossing balls around, and I got to like catch one of the balls, and we got some picture ops because they had some photopass photographers out there, and
Yep.
she handed us a sign, and we got one of my favorite pictures from the party with that, and just had a great view. And like I got to see the toy soldiers coming around the corner and go all the way out at the gate, which was really cool. And it was snoping over there too, which was the one thing I was worried about. I was like, well, I like the view better over here, but I want to be able to see Snope, and it was snoping over there too. So
And that's one thing going into it that I didn't understand. Everyone talked about it snowing on Main Street, and that's where you needed to be in the snow, but that like it was all the way around town square that it was snowing. It was snowing over the theater, over the train station, over City Hall. It was everywhere. So you could still enjoy that atmosphere without having to be on Main Street proper.
And it was funny because where we were getting Main Street snoped at first. And so we were like, oh, like, and then that was the same thought I had, was like, oh, thank God, like we're getting the snope over here, like it's hitting us perfectly. And then the like the town square snope started, and we were getting like we were getting double snoped. Like we were getting snoped pretty hard.
And I heard that from Tim Tracker, I think, had said that, and maybe it was Ron too. Like wherever they were standing, if it was in that spot or in like on the corner by the Emporium or whatever, like they were.
I think that's
hit
where he
hard.
was. Yeah, and the which was like right across from where we were, that corner, because you're getting Main Street, and then like right behind you is the like the square snope. So like he was getting double snoped, and so were we, kind of like in that area. But yeah, we really liked it, and we enjoyed being able to see everything kind of come down from Main Street. So yeah, we liked our spot. Our spot was pretty good.
Yeah, I was glad that it kind of worked out for everybody. Everyone got the spot they wanted, and I think we were just more interested in not being too crowded in and having to look over
Mhm.
people. That was
Yeah.
just
yeah,
the
I
main point
wanted
we
to be
wanted.
like right up front where I could see because I'm short.
Yeah, yeah, and where we were, I think we would have been 4 deep at that point.
Yeah, I
For
wouldn't have been
you,
able to
yeah,
see much of anything
And
where we were.
all four of us would have gotten yelled at by a lady
Yeah. Just because we got yelled at by a lady.
who
yeah.
ended up leaving halfway through the parade.
Yeah, she rage quit on us. So
Anywho,
I think I saw her, like, she was up on the corner, like, right up by the tree, right? So,
Yeah.
like,
she was like standing on the curb, but there was literally like a huge gap that you could have packed like 6 people in front of her. So we like went and stood in that area, and all of a sudden she's like, "Are you kidding me? I've waited 2 hours for this spot." I'm like,
yeah, you can't take a spot and leave all that space in front of
Yeah,
you
you
because it's
you
not going to
can't
be filled.
expect where people are like if people are standing together, you can't expect to not be like shoved in like sardines. Like you can't be like, "Oh, I've got all this space. Like it's going to stay I've been waiting for this parade for 2 hours. It's going to stay like
Mhm.
this the whole time." Like no, that's not
No.
Right.
how waiting for parades at Disney works.
And
Well,
cast
It's funny.
members are going to fill in that space if they
Yeah.
have to. So
When I
It's
was
funny
pregnant with Mia, I sat for like, I don't know, an hour or 2 hours getting us a spot for the parade while Brian like took the kids to get some food or whatever, and I was like using every part of my body to like sprawl out on the ground as much as I could, because that is totally what happens is
Mhm.
you can't just like, you have to have something covering the space you want to save, or somebody's going to sit or stand in it.
yep.
Yeah.
I think if we go back for the party next year, like I would know that like if I want to do that again, like then we need to get our spot a little bit sooner and
Mhm.
like make that a priority, or get it, just do a different spot, like stand where you guys stood, or know that like in a couple of years, like if we live in Florida, like we could be seeing this parade all week.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say that the parade was a highlight, a definite highlight for
Mhm.
us.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been thinking about the other things, like you had talked about the stage show. We briefly mentioned fireworks. For myself, I almost feel like I could skip the fireworks and the stage show and just do the
Ooh.
parade and find other things to fill that time, whether it's a meet and greet or more rides or something. Um, I just didn't feel like the fireworks were enough for me.
Oh.
The stage show, and I said this before we went, the stage show, I wasn't really feeling it until the end when they sang It Feels Like Christmas from
Mhm.
the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Which with Kristen just learned that was a song from that movie
I've never seen the Muppets A Christmas Carol.
till this year.
Oh
and
my
and then I
gosh.
didn't even really watch it because you turned it on and it was not, we weren't even sitting by the TV.
This is something that needs to be rectified.
Anywho,
Rectified.
I really liked the fireworks. I thought that they were good. Like we had a good spot for them.
Yeah, so just like going off of what Brian said, um if I was going to dump anything, I would dump the stage show. And it's funny because Tammy at one point, I think it was when we were waiting for the fireworks. Tammy was like, at the end of this party, like, are we going to run for a ride? And we had to kind of explain to her like, oh no, the stage show that we're watching starts at like 11:55, so like that's the last thing we do. But like if we're not gonna do that, I feel like for me, I could skip that and then do exactly what Tammy was talking about, like get in line for something like at the very end of the night, or like have something else that you're doing um for that all that time waiting for the stage show, which we didn't really wait that long. It was more like the parade got
Mhm.
done and then we just funneled into um that like main area and just watched the stage show because it just happened. But yeah, I feel like unless they come out with something new next year that's like way different, especially if they have that phone song, the text me song, um, I could see us just completely skipping that and doing something else.
Boo.
But I do have to say that I thought the fireworks were pretty decent. It wasn't anything too crazy special, like the fireworks for Halloween. The Halloween fireworks are real cool because it's almost kind of like a stage show and fireworks at the same time.
Like a projection show.
Yeah, and it's also a story, like which is really cool. Like the way that they do it. Um, so that's fun. But yeah, I do think I would agree with Brian on the stage show is not, wouldn't doing that again. Yeah.
The one thing I did like about the fireworks that you don't get with like Happily Ever After every night, but they do the extra perimeter. It's not like it used to be. Like when the first time we went to that Halloween party, it was 180 degrees around that
Wow. Oh.
hub. And I wish I could find the video. It's 2012 technology. It's gone at this point. But the video of me at that point, because I'm panning around at all of it, and I just went, holy cow, because it was just that overwhelming to have it all around you just exploding like crazy. Now they've got 3 launch points, the main one in the middle and 2 off to the side, and even that was still interesting and enjoyable. So I did like that part at the end, but I don't know, like the rest of it, and maybe it's because I don't get into Christmas music as much. Like it's the same thing over and over again. If you pull up my Christmas playlist, it's jazz, it's Bare Naked Ladies, which nobody, or not a lot of people listen to. It's stuff that you don't hear on the radio very often, because we do, like, you guys, November 1st, Paige and Tammy have Christmas music on anytime we're in the car. They're playing whatever radio station is playing it. They're playing their playlists. And to me, it's always the same thing. And this fireworks show was a lot
I
of
don't
the
see
same.
the problem with that.
Right?
I'm not saying it's a problem, but by the time I get to December and I've heard it so much, it doesn't mean as much to me anymore.
I also want to point out that the song that Brian is talking about by the Bare Naked Ladies is kind of like an anti-Christmas song. Isn't that the
What?
one that's like the one where like the streets are filled with Christmas cheer. At least it's only once a year, and they like talk about all of that.
It's
The
actually
Grinch.
Yeah.
actually the We Three Kings song that they do is my favorite.
Oh, okay, that's the one you're talking about.
But I think you're talking about Green Christmas.
Yeah.
They also have Elf's Lament, which is kind of like that too. But I've got their whole album on my playlist, their whole Christmas album.
See, this theory of yours makes absolutely no sense to me, because you will listen to like the same Dave Matthews Band album over and over and over again, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. So this makes no sense at all.
But this is why I keep you around. I guess you keep me honest, if that's what we're going to call this.
Okay. I don't know.
Anyways, so yeah, that was Brian. Brian, did you give your favorite memory of the party?
I always have trouble picking a favorite child, but there were a few things that I enjoyed. I did enjoy the parade probably the most. Being able to do it with you guys, though, I think is going to be, part of it too. So, the one thing I did like that I've gone back to a few times is when we did that picture frame after the last stage show, and we were all in there together, and the cast member says, "Now everybody look at each other and go, hey, we're all wearing the same shirt." Like, that was fun to me.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that like that kind of is another like memory that I like, is that like we got so many like compliments and like people talking to us about what we had on, so that was kind of cool. Like it made me think like whatever trips we do in the future, we should try to at least have one day where we do something kind of out of the ordinary like that.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I honestly, so this is going to be a wild card. My favorite memory was walking down that alleyway and like the excitement that we had for like going into the party and everything, and like dancing with the DJ and like getting those pictures and everything and just like getting going. I think that was like probably one of my favorite memories. Because I mean, you guys had already taken the parade, and the parade was a big highlight for me.
No one is saying Space Mountain, and
That was another one that I thought of, though.
I just like it. Like it's a whole nother level. Like you have your normal Space Mountain where you can like not really see anything, but you have like the lights kind of, and then like Halloween Space Mountain where you can't see anything, and then this one where you can see it all. But I don't know, I just felt like I had no idea what was happening.
Yeah, it was fun because you could see more. So you could see what was happening to you, but it still felt kind of jerky because like they do that on purpose.
It was just fun.
Yeah.
So let us know what holiday shenanigans you may have gotten into while you were at Disney World this past holiday season. Come on out to Instagram or Facebook. We are at Miles from Main Street, or find us on our website, www.milesfrommainsst.com.
But like we always say,
some live close,
but others don't.
So let's talk about it.
We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.